Constantine the Greek died at the age of 82. A king who ruled the Greek country for only 9 years and closely related to Spain because he was the brother of Queen Sophia, with whom he had always been very close. In fact, both Doña Sofia and her sister Irene, who lived in Sarsuela, were in Athens when Constantino died, along with the rest of the immediate family, their 5 children and 9 grandchildren. Constantino the Greek's relations with our country were very intense, as he could often be seen in Sarsuela or Mariventa in Mallorca. The relationship with his sisters Donia Sofia and Irene, who live in Madrid, in addition to the exile he was forced to leave in 1967 after the revolution of the colonels, prompted the former head of the Greek state to visit our country frequently. In fact, it is said that Constantino may have been the matchmaker between his sister Sophia and the young Prince Juan Carlos during the Dukes of Kent wedding in London in June 1961. Both Constantino and Juan Carlos had intimacy from the beginning. Courting his sister. They were the same age, shared concerns and love of sailing, in which Constantino managed to win a medal for Greece at the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome, after the military seized power in Athens in April 1967, an event that Queen Sophia experienced live, because she had arrived there a few days before with Don Juan Carlos and her daughters Helena and Christina to celebrate the 50th birthday of her mother, Queen Federica. Constantino's trips to Spain were very frequent. Tito, as Constantino was known privately, was photographed a couple of days before the wedding of the Kings of Honor, which took place in 1962, dressed in kimono like Don Juan Carlos, with whom he fought on the tatami. From there, Don Juan Carlos left with a dislocated shoulder, an incident that made no difference in the good relations between the two brothers-in-law, which were very tense until many years later. Constantine and his wife, Princess Anne-Marie of Denmark, first moved to Rome, where they spent their first years in exile, and later settled in London, where their 3 eldest children, Alexia, Pablo and Nicholas, and their children were raised. 2 young children, Theodora and Felipe, were born. In the Italian capital, the then Prince Juan Carlos sent his son-in-law some suits that show the harmony in the early years of his marriage to his sister Sophia, from England, where they were welcomed by their cousin Felipe from Edinburgh. They often came to spend vacations in our country. Constantino and Don Juan Carlos became friends, and it was common to see the two families together, especially in the summer or at Christmas. Pablo, Alexia and Nicholas grew up with Don Felipe and Princesses Elena and Christina at the same time, creating a very close cousin relationship. Especially during the 80s, they shared summers in Palma de Mallorca, where the cousins spent a lot of time together, and Constantino sailed with Don Juan Carlos on the Fortuna. During the Christmas vacations, the Greek royal family settled in Sarsuela, where Sophia felt most secure with her brothers, sister-in-law and nephews. Doña Sofia was the one who went to London to visit her brother and his family during the Orthodox celebrations. The Greek family attended all the baptisms of the grandchildren of the honorary kings. Even Don Felipe, when he was still a prince and studying for his master's degree, shared an apartment with his cousin Pablo in Georgetown. Constantino was at his sister's proclamation with Don Juan Carlos and was also present at the proclamation of Philip VI in 2014. It is said that on the night of February 23, it was Doña Sofia's brother who most often called Sarsuela to inquire not only about his sister and her nephews, but also about the difficult moment that represented a coup d'état for his son-in-law's reign. Constantino is one of the few who can boast an award associated with the Spanish monarchy, the Golden Fleece, which Don Juan Carlos bestowed on him in 1964. Queen Sophia's mother, Doña Federica, also lived long periods in Sarsuela, and after her death in February 1981, a funeral chapel was erected in our country following an intervention in the palace of the Spanish capital. There were problems with the Greek government, which opposed having her buried in her country, and Don Juan Carlos' mediation was necessary so that Constantino could finally set foot on Greek soil for the first time since his exile. It was only for one day to attend his mother's funeral, but relations between Don Juan Carlos and Constantino deteriorated considerably in the 1990s. The reasons were different. In 1992, the King Emeritus was featured in a documentary about his life made by British journalist Selina Scott based on his relationship with Constantino. The report offered a very light-hearted vision of the honorary king that neither Juan Carlos nor the then head of the royal court, Sabino Fernandez Campo, liked. In addition, Constantine began to distrust his sister's husband because of his infatuations. It is said that it was Marta Gaia who forced her son-in-law to have a big discussion in Mariventa because her relationship with the honorable king was a Polichinelle secret. After the scandal in Botswana in 2012 that exposed Don Juan Carlos' relationship with Karina Larson, Doña Sofia took refuge in Greece, where Constantino was able to return after his exile. The Queen Emeritus visited Athens several times, especially after the publication of the schedule of official events following the proclamation of her son Felipe. There he was able to say goodbye to his brother at the end of his days. Don Juan Carlos and Constantino met again in 2018, as the ancient Greek king did not want to miss his son-in-law's 80th birthday in the capital.